Welcome back to another episode of Full Circle with me, Onyx. And let's just kind of get into it. Might seem a bit disorganized, but if you've listened to my videos, there is a strange structure to this dot to dot constellation the image will form. So I'm pulling from different experiences on my journey and sharing it with you, kind of distilling it into a thought. And hopefully, we can kind of start with that thought, how to get your magical power back, how to reclaim yourself and your authenticity, how to level up as a witch, a wizard, whatever you'd like to call yourself, how maybe connect back to that divine, how to psychologically heal yourself, kind of like the Philosopher's Stone. And this may be your key to transcending, going to the next level of your own personal evolution, gaining access to the gods, to the archetypes, and beyond. And to do this, it's so simple. It's basically come back to your body, come back to you, come back to your center, get in charge, of your avatar, get in your vehicle, and drive, you know. So it's about realignment. It's all things spiritual, It's all things law of attraction. It's everything everyone is repackaging for you with a million other twists and turns and novelties and embellishments and decorations. When you strip it all down, you are it. And I'm not really going to say you as in your ego and your personality as the character, but you are it. And my message has been this for probably 10 to 20 years. Because that's been my lifeline. That's been I call it used to be called the golden rod, or the rod spoke of in church when I was younger. They're like, hold on to the iron rod, hold on to the iron rod. And, and it's supposed to be like God in Christ. And you have to retranslate. You have to come up with new terms. What is this railing that I'm supposed to be holding on and relying on like a crutch? Well, that is myself. Dun 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 dun. You. So we live in a culture of either providing goods or providing services. If you're not providing goods, then you're providing a service. Either way, if I want to assure that I'm always providing you goods and services, I must be taking something away. So if I take all the goods away and resell them to you, then you will need them and you're going to have to then buy them from me. So I think it's crime, it's criminal how the past structure, I'm just going to call it the past structure, has survived by, it fit for that time period. So no hard feelings, no negative storyline, but we're moving into a new evolution. You must be your own master. You must be your own Christ. You must be your own Savior. And unfortunately, you must also be your own wizarding mentor, your guide through the experience of being human and the experience of your spiritual development. because literally, mind blown or reclarified. In order to give you something, I must take it away. And then you must want and need it. You know? So it's almost like this cruel joke. You go to the guru and you think what you're buying from them is something you don't have. But I think, in all honesty, in all goodness, a true teacher tells you it's within you. So you then may enter my tent. You may follow, you may join the flock, but know all that you will ever gain is the ability to unearth the beauty, the wonder, the majesty, the honor that you are. So, and I feel like this type of attitude needs to be brought into therapy and everything. You know, let's be clear. All produce sold is yours. You're rebuying your own food. All the knowledge and wisdom is yours. You are um, probably rebuying all that. So all these, so I'm kind of saying grow wise, understand the power of having a filter that serves you, and also understand you have a filter that was kind of programmed into you that's not serving you, creating the construct of your world. And I call it, it's a limiting filter. And it's a limiting filter of your identity. So this is what's limiting you. This is what's secretly sabotaging you. It's reflected in your neurology. It's reflected in your health. It's reflected in your attitude. It's reflected in your relationships. And it's also reflected at the level of spirituality and magical power that you willed. So if you're experiencing power loss, if you feel like you're being cursed, if your life is a total nightmare, and sometimes that does happen uh, through your journey, like a shedding of skin, like a removing all the things that aren't needed, like you're discarding. When you're holding on to things that you need to discard, you might assume you're experiencing loss in a negative way. You're losing things that you would like to keep, but really you're holding on to the crutch. You're holding on to a belief system, an attitude, an identity, a story about you, about the world, about others, about humanity. And these stories are holding you back. And we experience them almost like a reality. And so a lot of it becomes delusional. So the pendulum swings back and forth into intense highs and intense lows. Sometimes it feels like you're sucked into the drama, into the movie, and it's real. And sometimes the pendulum swings the other way. You can't relate to it. You're an outsider looking in on experiences that you feel like you can never have, that you're excluded, that you're demonized, that you're, outcast. And that doesn't feel good. And so we're coming back to center. We're coming back to ourselves. So if you watched, I think the story, I don't know, Agatha, just all about the witch's road and whatever, that's conserve you. So in many myths, especially the Babylonian myth, I don't know which goddess, I'll just say like Ishtar or Inanna has to go to the underworld. And she has to go through the 9 gates of hell, or the 9 levels. And at each level, she has to remove something until finally she's naked in front of the goddess. Come as you are, to thy own self be true, know thyself. So a journey into the underworld, could be seen as a reclaiming your authentic power, um, shedding the programming, the generational curses, the attitudes, the beliefs, and an underworld experience is an inner experience. Where does power come from? Where is this dark goddess? Deep within ourself, deep in our body, deep in our neurology, deep in our timeless realm. And so entering the shadows, crossing the threshold, meeting the guardian on the mount. These are all mystical occult metaphors um, that explain the experience of emptying the cup, as we would say in Zen, uh, removing that which is not needed. So, usually in healing, there's two requirements: give yourself the building blocks to heal, and stop giving yourself the poisons. Stop promoting those things that keep the illness going. And we can look at this psychologically, emotionally, physically, spiritually. It doesn't matter which level, you still have to do those two things. Remove the toxins, the bad influences, you know, and add in those building blocks that you need that you're probably deficient in. So, we're going to take a little side note, a little tangent. Welcome to the world of minerals. Not just rocks that you can hold, but minerals that you can ingest. Most illnesses um, are byproducts of mineral deficiency. And we're especially finding that out when it comes to the chemistry and neurology of your body and the mental conditions that shape your attitude. So, science does have a place. It's not opposed to magic, it's not opposed to spirituality. It's not this bipolar experience of right and wrong, for and against. That type of black and white thinking is probably what landed you in the situation that you're at. Life sucks, splat, things aren't working, and you're not getting what you want. You're missing a few key tools. And you might be missing the transcendent aspect, your divine connection to the gods. Um, in psychology, that's just your ability to access the collective, and that the collective energy and that information is stored in archetypes, symbols that are universal and kind of have the same meaning across all cultures, across all time periods. So you're transcend like a tree. Everyone in every country all across the world, tree pretty much means the same thing. The sun means the same thing. The moon means the same thing. And so we see here on planet Earth, uh, a mountain is a mountain, a river is a river, a lake is a lake. So these are like some archetypes that you can talk to, and everyone knows a still lake is going to be reflective. Everyone knows the moon is night and lunar is a softer glow. No one is getting like a moon burn. Uh, uh, and so keeping the symbols simple is a way. So dream interpretation, when you start getting psychic intuitive stuff, uh, these symbols come up and you're starting to access collective information. Within that information, so we could say it's a pattern. Your pattern, everything's a pattern. What's not working in your life can be a pattern overlap that's incongruent. You could call it computer programs that aren't aligning. So they're not compatible. They might be two different versions, a lower grade and a higher grade. You might not have enough capacity to integrate that information. So you can move into more scientific and technology terminology to understand the basic truth, or you can bring it down to a more simplified level, patterns in nature, patterns, cycles, rhythms, hence the art of witchcraft and magic, but it's also universal. That's really a lot of information right there. Let's take a miniature pause. How do we access? How do we break out of the matrix? How do we get our power back? How do we rewrite our story? How do we make new choices? How do we create? In essence, how do we make magic? And how do we re-empower ourselves? How do we clear the mirror and see our original face? So simple, be in the present moment. When the past and future collide, we find ourselves in the present. The Ouroboros eating its tail, the end and the beginning when they meet each other, that point of creation, that point of suffering, that point of death is also the point of life, rebirth. That point of pain and humiliation is also the point to awakening, revolution, understanding, wisdom, reinventing the self. So during the sacrifice, that which is given, something is always given. So what is taken, something is given. So it's this kind of nexus. And we find that in our deepest moment of grief. I'm not going to say pain, I'm going to say grief. Very specifically. At this point, I understand the human experience and what draws out the compassion, what draws out the angel within, that higher self, that hope, that vision is grief. Your ability to understand the hidden grief that we all are suffering as a collective in this time period, and the grief that people are still holding on to from the past, and the grief that we're going to let go to bring in the new age, the new earth, however you'd like to call it, actually the golden dawn, which is the whole point of why that lodge is called the Golden Dawn. It's bringing in a new age, a golden era, you know, and you experience this yourself, the inner resurrection of Christ. So in all different traditions, feel free to use whatever symbol system, mythology you would like, to represent this alchemy, this transformation from lead into gold, you know, from the mortal you into your ascended Christ self or angelic self, whatever it is, you, the mortal, and then you becoming a superhero, you're going to find it when you're willing to feel your grief. And you're going to find it also only in the present moment. The present moment is the only reality. Everything else is almost like images, templates, slides in an old projector that are, so the old projectors, little teeny glass plates that were little pictures, and then there was a light. The projector was really kind of interesting for like a slideshow, not really like a movie, for a slideshow. They would be stuck in a reel that was round. It was like this little container, and it would like hold like 100 or even, who knows how big it was. Go in this little box, it had a light. You would push the button and it would revolve one click, and the slide would show and project onto the wall, and people would make little slides and gather around and watch. It was like just projecting your photo on the wall. And it was actually really kind of cool. But that gives you a really good image about freezing time and all the events and all the experiences moment by moment get frozen into little pictures. And there's so many really cool metaphors to launch you into deeper understanding. But imagine you're like a little ball of light and you move through each slide one by one at a certain rate. And they seem to be alive. They seem to be animated like the old animation movies. Um, and so it's like your consciousness is penetrating these slides in it at a certain rate, and you experience it as time you're experiencing the story. Like you've literally jumped in and animated each slide. But then you leave these slides. Let them be negatives again. Let them be empty shells as you progress, moment to moment to moment to moment, in a continuous stream of moments. We can play a little more, but yeah, And so you experience your life. The reality is you could rearrange those slides, and you can even reverse it. You could go back in time, you could go forward in time, but the slides, they're already created and made. So at this level of reality, everything is created. People get stuck because they think the experience they're experiencing is so real, because they have lost the memory of making it. So on a metaphysical level, we are co-creating our experience. And when you get really present in the moment, you can start to reality warp or make changes, make new choices. So I like to call it, you find the crossroads, dead center, in the present moment. And that's like the magic of magic. Most techniques help you realign to the present moment, and then also realign to the energy and frequency that you want. But it has to be a combination of your will, the present moment, and the energy frequency. When you put all three together, power of three, you alter your reality, or you turn the page, or you pick another book off the shelf, like Neo in the Matrix, and you start experiencing a different reality, a different already made book. I mean, we kind of went on a little tangent, but how is this all possible? The present moment. But like a bead on a string, like you need that bead on the string. Your physical body is the bead on the string of time, or, and so your energy lines being in the web of life, your body vehicle is so important. And so I'm just going to say, a lot of spiritual teachings have been because they were by people who were not initiated. You can have there's an outer initiation where you might go to a school and a teacher might pat you on the head or do some rituals, chime a bell, change your clothes, and you are initiated into the mysteries, or you've had a baptism. That's like the outer ritual. The inner initiation is your realignment to your higher self, or your holy guardian angel, however you experience that. It's not and it happens. It could be your awakening to the I am presence. There's so many levels. And you won't think about it, you'll know. You'll be like, oh yeah, Onyx, I know what you're talking about. I had my inner initiation as well. If you haven't had it, then you will have questions about it. And so all your work you're doing will prepare you for that inner initiation. Welcome to the inner mysteries. Hence, here is the key to the inner temple. This is also the point where you might choose to become a solitary witch, a hermit, a monk, renounce the world. And it doesn't mean you actually have to quit your life, but once you've had the inner initiation, suddenly the world looks dead to you, or it might look like a video game. So if it already looks dead to you, you might have already had your inner initiation. So, and for those of you who have not had inner initiation, you're building your inner temple by being present, by being alone, or not all the time, by having time, moments to yourself alone. You start to build your inner sanctuary. And this is key to everything I talked about at the very beginning: mental health, putting yourself back together, regaining your power. And then I'm going to actually tell you the solitary road will increase your magical ability so much farther than any teacher, guru, or book. But when a teacher, guru, and book show up, use them, take what is needed. It's there for a reason. It's manifested on the outer screen. And so it is divine timing, but understand it's almost like a paper cutout or a cartoon version of the actual thing. You might still be very hungry, and that's okay. So, spending time with yourself, getting centered is that iron rod, you know, your spine, the kundalini, whatever you like to call it, the middle pillar meditations. But basically, you are past, present, and future here, all in one. Get centered. Center your body. So you put your body in alignment in the straight line, like the bead on the string. Put the bead on the string. The string is going vertical. Stack it. So maybe you could think of 7 beads for 7 chakras. As the bead falls down with gravity, feel your body weight. Feel your weight. And then kind of feel your aura and your body weight together. This might be the first time you go, whoa, I feel anchored. So that's what they meant when they say ground. So you will have a physical and energetics physical sensation knowing you are ground. It creates that platform, that keystone to build your temple. Your body is a temple. Your mind is a temple. Your aura is a temple. All 3 together work to work the 3 planes of magic. So literally, if you learn to ground and center and be present here in the now, that key alone could open up all of the doors. When you are grounded, you start to magnetize back all of your energy, all of your power, all of your lost soul fragments. So you don't need smudge, you don't need a shaman, you don't need a ritual, you don't need singing, you don't need drums, you don't need sacrifice, you don't need a lineage. You just need to plug back into the earth. So the universe, in all its wisdom, has all these prepackaged gifts for you. And really, it's designed that you can serve yourself. So back at the beginning, when I talked about the only way I can serve you is if I take away that knowledge and then give it back to you, or take away those resources, repackage it, and give it to you. So our culture does a disservice by taking your soul, taking your truth, taking your identity away from you, and then trying to repackage it and give it to you. Unfortunately, that's not how reality works. You can never lose your soul, you can never lose your power, and you can never lose your true identity. And all of that is so far beyond your 5 senses that you may not see it, touch it, feel it, hear it, or come to understand it and know it through the rational thinking brain, which is tied into your five senses, hence the birth of the mystical and the spiritual experience, the transcendent experience. Whew, that was so much, you guys. You might have to just like, I don't know, break that little video up. But we ground. And so once you're grounded and magnetized, your aura starts to dump back into you. Your energy, yourself, like a cup of water, starts to be filled. And it might be sloshing around a bit. Ground more, and eventually, on a stable base, it will naturally find its center. You'll start to feel good again. You'll start to feel balanced. The art of wizardry, especially, is balance. You're balancing masculine, feminine, life, death, transcendent and mundane, past, present, past and future. It all comes together in one of the biggest mysteries, the microdot, or the singularity, point zero. And we access that through the power of now, being here now. The only way to be here now is bring your body, the vehicle, bring your center, you, the person gets in the vehicle. And now you could actually do something like turn the key and pump the gas and go somewhere, or look at the road map in the safety of your car. And now you also have the ability to look out the windows. So what also happens is a natural psychic shield starts to form about you. So one of my biggest things that came up, like literally like yesterday, was the full understanding of psychic shield and shielding yourself. And it's actually bringing yourself back and getting into your car. It's bring yourself back to your body, get into it. The more you bring it back, the more you feel whole. You might have to kick some people out because, you left your car on the side of the road with the windows rolled down. Maybe people were sleeping in it and using it as who knows what they used your vehicle for. So there might be some cleanup work that has to happen, but you got to reclaim your vehicle. And you got to kick out unneeded passengers, loiterers, vandals, hoodlums, whatever you'd like to call them. That was all your fault. Own it. Roll up those windows. Clean up that car, roll it up, give it some good gas. You might need to take it in and get some repair work done, but reclaim that body, because then it becomes the foundation for your inner magical temple